So you're a vegan, but what do you eat? Leaves?
Hello, hope you're having a good day. I'm reading this at the moment. The World Peace Diet by Will Tuttle, PhD. Amazing book, I recommend it. And it just kind of writes about how, like, we're never going to be a peaceful world unless we stop killing, like, the animals first. Because all violence has stemmed from herding animals and animal agriculture. So I'm just going to read a couple of paragraphs. This is what I was reading last night, and I thought, what an amazing book. So it hints on what Pythagoras, who was like a bit of a genius in his time, he came up with some good writings, and quote of his says, "As long as men massacre animals, they will kill each other. Indeed, he who sows the seeds of murder and pain cannot reap joy and love." So it basically says, like, the herding culture started about 10,000 years ago in Iraq. It started with sheep and cattle and goats, etc. were like the status symbol of the time. So it was like it was the money of the time. So the more cattle and animals that you had, the more wealthy you were. But that in itself caused wars and friction because you needed more land to graze the cattle, and that in turn led to fighting with your neighbours and trying to get as much land as possible. So it just led to greed, basically. And that culture has just more or less continued, and it's the culture we live in today, which is eating animals, and that just causes pain and suffering. It's a great book. I do recommend it. It says, I'll read a bit here. The Vegan Revolution. The core values of old herding culture still define our culture, as does its main ritual, eating commodified animals. Our deep urge to evolve to a more spiritually mature level of understanding and living, and to create a social order that promotes more justice, peace, freedom, health, sanity, prosperity, sustainability and happiness, absolutely requires us to stop viewing animals as food objects to be consumed and to shift to a plant-based way of eating. This would bless us enormously, liberating us from routinely practicing, denying and projecting violence, and would help us cultivate equality and loving kindness in our relationships, as well as develop our capacity for inner serenity. It's true. It's so true. We have to start with the basics. We have to start by not murdering, using and abusing animals. That's where world peace starts, and this book hits that nail on the head. It's all in here. Einstein was a vegan, vegetarian at least. I'm not sure, is it? Because they used to say vegetarian, but I mean, vegetarian in them days was also not eating dairy and all that. I don't think that's dairy. I don't think he ate dairy. That's a bit. There's another paragraph here that I found very interesting, and it goes: "We are waking up from the bad dream of commodifying and preying on animals. The revolution of compassion that is growing in our consciousness and culture requires that we stop eating animals, not just for self-orientated health or economic reasons, but also from our hearts, out of caring for the animals, humans, and vast web of interconnected lives that are harmed and destroyed by animal-based meals. The word that sums up this underlying ethic and motivation is vegan, coined in 1944 in England by Donald Watson. Watson was dissatisfied with the word vegetarian because it does not account for motivation and refers only to the exclusion of animal flesh from the diet. He took the first 3 and last 2 letters of that word, but wanted it pronounced completely differently, vegan, to emphasise its revolutionary import. Its definition in the Articles of Association of the Vegan Society in England reads, "Veganism denotes a philosophy and way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practical, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose, and by extension promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of humans, animals, and the environment." It's true shit right there. This, people, is the way forward. If we're going to survive as human beings, if we're going to continue, otherwise it's suicide. It's basic suicide. So I recommend reading that book. Definitely, it's a big thumbs up for me. So I hope you enjoyed me doing a bit of reading, and I'll see you soon.